Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Hope you have a great day and thank you very much for joining to today's Vodreview session. So we have here found on am I stuck in Elo Hell or do I deserve my rank? Replay codes against 3 codes posted, 3 different maps. We're gonna look only at one in-game name, Tukutsu, Hero Bastion. A one-trick pony, okay. Open queue, Gold 1. King's Row, Circuit Rare, a Blizzard World, PC. I've been trying to get my rank up from Gold to Diamond Masters, but can't seem to escape Gold. I mainly play Bastion and Emre in open queue, and only swapping to other roads whenever the team needs it. I spend a bit of time on aim training, maps or casual games to warm up and get a sense of what I need to improve on, or what bad habits I might be doing. I'm semi-consistent with my aim and positioning, but do notice some moments where I get out of position or play in a spot that isn't beneficial to the team. I also notice that my ego tends to inflate whenever I check the scoreboard and see that I have higher stats. I do agree that the stats do somewhat matter and shows how much impact I have for the game, but at the same time I feel like I have high stats and don't feel like making that big of a mistake of a team. Yeah. So let's address a few things at first. So, stats. Right, the replays are gone. Actually cannot show you my stats. So we actually say with the post, unfortunate, it's the day after the patch. So, like trying to get to Diamond Masters from Gold does not really have any specific meaning. Like, what happens if you reach Masters? Do you stop playing? Do you stop playing? Do you stop improving? Do you like what changes? Like usually, this definitions kind of make sense when you say, okay, I kind of have like this training plan to reach this goal in this time, and this are my steps to reach it. But usually with the most Overwatch players, they just play the game and for some reason think they should be climbing by just playing the game, which of course is not how it's supposed to work. You actually have to actively work on improving yourself to actually climb, and whatever rank you get is just whatever random result you get from this training you get. And since you do not have the experience on how much training, again, training not playing, is actually required to reach a specific rank, there is also not much point in arbitrarily defining any positions of Diamond or Masters or whatever. It's more like, do you want to train more and harder, and then you will get a higher rank than you currently have. But where it stops is somewhat, like, usually as a player you do not get to see that. Spend a bit of time aim training on maps and casual games to warm up and get a sense of what I need to improve on. Yeah. Like, there are two things, of course. Playing on aim training maps is can improve your mechanics if you actively work on specific mechanics, but again, just playing them doesn't do anything. You actually have to mindfully try to change your actual performance. And the same goes, casual games are also not better for improving than hardcore games. The try-hard games are the ones that trigger your most emotional response, that trigger the most try-hard focus that you can have, and therefore are the best to improve. Like casual games, like quick play games or Smurf games tend to have like a lower intensity, and lower intensity is really the opposite of what you want. And also like people are just more random, picking whatever random things. Like this can be good to like limit things. Like you think, okay, what if I just hardcore angle every single game? Like I see a teammate and I always go somewhere else. And then you test it against in quick play, because quick play you have a higher variation, and sometimes you get like really good like grandmaster game players in your plat games. Sometimes you get like this bronze players in plat games. And you can see, oh man, okay, I kind of did this flank, but then the silver Hanzo still hit me. So maybe my flank wasn't that good. If even the silver Hanzo can hit me, then maybe it's not good. Or the opposite, like okay, you managed to kind of deal with this grandmaster player in some way, shape or form. Like probably didn't win, but maybe you didn't do too bad either. And then you can kind of like use this tool to like limit test, but specifically for finding out what you're doing wrong and so on, it's not that useful. Watching your games and actually thinking about plays is more useful. Semi-consistent with my aim and positioning, but do notice some moments where I get too out of position or play in a spot that isn't beneficial to the team. Yeah. So usually notice some moments mostly refers to players like dying and they say, I know I was too far out. Which kind of often is not really the case, but then sometimes they kind of didn't use the correct timing for the angles they have, or they didn't use the correct cooldowns for the angles they have, and so on. So it needs to be figured out before you go to the angle, and not a result based. So we have to keep an eye on that one. Also notice my ego tends to be inflated whenever I check the scoreboard. Yes, stats are fully useless. They really are completely meaningless. The stats I want to show you is I won 5 games yesterday on Master 2, on Sombra. And every single one of these games, I did about 25% of the damage to my other DPS. And I won all of them. I'm currently on the winning trend. And I literally do not do any damage or any kills. Because the games yesterday, the enemies put a lot of effort in denying my Sombra flanks. So I was fighting 1 vs 2, 1 vs 3 for a long time without dying. So I didn't have the space to just go in hard and get kills, farm damage and so on. I got a lot of attention. I got pushed out a lot, but that opened up the angles, the lanes for my Emre to farm his damage. And yeah, and in this case, the Emre is supposed to have a lot more damage than I am supposed to have, because that's how the game works. Like, stats are not symmetrical. And they're also fully relevant. The only stat that matters is the teamfight won or not. Like, was it a teamfight you wanted to win? Like, not a dry fight because you have no ults, but actually a team actually wanted to win, and did you win this teamfight? That's literally the only stat that is relevant. And for that you have to watch the replay view and not the scoreboard. The only reason to watch the scoreboard is to check if everyone is alive and the ult status of teammates. The damage numbers, the heal numbers, they are fully meaningless. And I really mean fully meaningless. They are so meaningless that they are actually harmful. They make players ego boost, make players think they do something while they are actually doing nothing. Like, yeah. They shape behavior in the game in a way that does not lead to more teamfight wins, and so they are really the opposite of helpful. Okay, let's take a look at the actual gameplay. If you have any questions, of course, write it down on Reddit or catch me live on my stream, like Twitch TV, #ingame, and feel free to ask whatever deeper opinion you want, like about how to train, how to Vodreview, how to why about the stats and so on. Like, I don't want to make this too long for now. We have yapped for about 8 minutes now, so let's actually go into the actual Vodreview. If I remember which buttons to press. We are called Farah Tukutsu. We're not called Farah, we're called Tukutsu. Wizard, please, thank you.
Objective A.
Right. Yeah, I hope you got great sets out of that one. If you would have to guess how much damage you dealt, which number would you guess? Like, every action in this game costs you something. And of course it might be something obvious, like, oh, you used a cooldown, so you don't have the cooldown anymore. You got shot back, so you lost life. Maybe you lose space. But in every game, in every circumstance, always there is an opportunity cost. You can do only one action at a time. In this case, you actually stand still and shoot forward on a range where you will never get the point, never get a meaningful kill, never get meaningful pressure, and you used your 2 cooldowns, you used your time. You basically wasted the first 10 seconds of this match. And just walking somewhere useful might have been a lot more useful. So this is a huge waste of time. And then first rule of optimizing anything is always cut away the useless parts, the time spent unwell. Don't do this, do something useful instead. And also, we are also kind of just yeeting forward without any greater plan or sense. Like, if you imagine, okay, we land now on high ground with our, like, imagine this jump works, now you land here, and And now what? Now you think you can just survive like a Zarya bubble diva just flying into your face? Of course not, you will just die. And you use like your cooldowns for this death. So it's kinda like, even if you reach the spot, like what does it do? Like so far we do not see any reason to anything, and what we actually got is now that we are in front of our entire team. We're peeking 3 enemies. We are dealing 0 damage and we're taking a metric ton of damage. And you see, like, aiming was hard, shooting was hard, so we kinda did nothing really. Okay. Not bad. We got the enemy tank. But D.Va is dead. We have a shield. We have tanks in front. Why are we, like, hesitant and walking through? Like, at this point, you could already have been here. So how the game usually works is that people do not randomly die, but instead they take space and they give up space at a higher level. So of course killing D.Va and such things are nice, but it's not something you can rely on. What you can rely on is pressuring the D.Va and pressuring the D.Va out. This is something that can reliably happen if she's in this position. So when D.Va is in this position, of course it's correct to shoot the D.Va, right? So the enemy tanks are here in this area, so what you want to do is like get established, like someone should be on this angle and someone should be on this angle and shoot the tanks, and at some point they will get pushed out, and this is what we did. Like better tanks will of course just fly out and get out, but either way we gain this space here. This is the first action we do in the game. We pressure the enemies out of the space. Of course the first action is technically to like make sure that in our half of the choke there's no cheesy flanker, like there's no Unrun here and stuff, of course. But like we did wrong, we wanted to gain this space. And why do we want to gain this space? Because if no enemy is standing in this direct space, it allows us to walk through. This is what we gain. By gaining control over this space, you also gain control over all this space back here, where you can now walk in. And this is of course useless if you do not walk in. So the moment you realize, okay, my team is up in resources, like not a kill, but like just cooldowns. Zarya has no bubbles, D.Va has no matrix, they have not much life to push us. We currently have a Sigma shield up or Dominant shield up, whatever. Means you can walk through and start working on this angle as fast as you can. Because what this does again is like it allows Widow to continue snipe on this angle. She's contesting this lane, so you contest this lane. Both lanes are contested. Your tanks will like be contesting this area right now because they are shorter range, of course. But at some point they should also rotate around towards you. So right now what we want to do is just walk through as fast as we can with the pressure we did and establish this position. And this is important that we saw earlier with the rocket jump, with like you don't fight enemies directly, so to speak. You just take one space after the other and then pressure or fight with whatever is available from there in your point of view. And now we're walking backwards. Why? We have the advantage. Right now we should be not spamming randomly main because yeah, nice damage, but we will not get a kill back there. Like you can just go to cover, heal up, go back. Like it doesn't change anything about the fight. What changes the fight is if this grenade hits Unrun in the face. That changes the fight because then this lane is also becoming free, right? So we definitely need to be shooting Unrun here and not some random spamming onto main. And we need to walk. Like at this point we need to be already like here. Of course, against Unrun, we want to have some space and then take a duel against Unrun, which we can win. Which we should win. And of course, if we manage see that we are starting to lose, we go back up. So it's like a dynamic process of like feeling, can you pressure this, can you not pressure this? But start working towards this angle and start pressuring this angle as fast as we can. Keep a range, let's go. So be careful with this. So I will just wait 1 second longer for my cooldown. And because we are contesting lanes. Again, so like this teammates should fight for here, and now we are just holding this angle until this teammate can also reposition, basically. Especially because we have enemies on this angle. So we don't have to push this now, we have to fight this now. And by walking closer to Andran, make it easier for Andran to fight you back. That's fine. Putting Andran with a cooldown is fine. Nice. Now, again, we got the space. So what do we do next? Well, we stop being open in the space. So you're now in the, like, very far away from every cover. Right? So the next thing you do is you claim the space. So all you do is walk into the next space. You can decide if you go here or go to the car. But go to some cover and just exist in this cover for some time. Until you have cooldowns, until you have life, until your teammates again have rotated, and so on. Find a space where you can just chill and shoot a little bit. As fast as you can without taking damage back. You want to be... so when you... passively hold space, you want to be efficient, which means you always take less damage than you deal. You need to deal more damage than you take back. Be efficient. When you go for kills, you have to be effective. You use every resource you have to get the job done. All your life, all your cooldowns, all your everything. So pushing Andran, we use everything, all your life, the cooldowns, everything. It was effective. We did it. Now we have to go be efficient again. Be efficient again and just like a slight poke. Wait for healing. Like after 6 seconds to heal yourself. Get your cooldowns back. And then be effective again. So right now, we are also open with 176 HP. So this is very punishable by the enemies. So it would be enough if like this Wuyang just randomly strays left side and makes one water slop right here. And you are just dead. So in this case, you do not have too much control over your own safety. And you gave control away to the enemy team. However, they randomly walk. And giving control away is never consistent. You want to be consistent to climb. And you have to train your consistency. And you will be consistent if you say, okay, I need to be efficient now. Stay in cover so you can control, do you peek the Bastion or do you not peek the Bastion? If you're in cover, you are in control. Do you push or do you not push? Right? Because you already have the point. The game's about the objective. And the first goal then, of course, is to control the objective. And this is what you are doing. So you don't have to push further for no reason. You have to need two reasons to push further. Like, you can do something actually, but you can't. You can only die here. Yeah, the Desperate ult was fine. We take it. Like so far, you are going very confident for, like, just push forward very confident to walk in quite a lot of time. Which is not too bad. We take it. Against rocket jump doesn't really do too much. Like this doesn't do anything. Like if you are here in Bastion form or normal form, it doesn't change anything. You didn't need your cooldown. You could just stand here and shoot. It would be exactly the same. But by doing this rocket jump, you kinda like you're jumping in without information. Like you know nothing, you just jump forward. Like I guess even that your Domina has placed your shield is somewhat random. I think you decided to jump forward before the Domina already had your shield. Like maybe Domina would now stagger and just click, oh, do I have teammates? And just look around and then you wouldn't even have a shield. You're just out in the open without your grenade. Like get information first and then do the correct actions. Every good action is based on good information. If you don't have information, you can't act correctly. Like the military defines it as like observe, just what is going on, just facts, just get the facts in. Where's everyone's position? What is the cooldown? What is the health status of everyone? Then orient. What does it mean? What is pace is hours? What can you push? What can push you? What is dangerous? What is not dangerous? Orient. And then decide. After those two information steps, you make the decision, and then comes the act, the UDA cycle. And you kind of just went to acting directly because there was no information, there was no decision. You just go. Again, nice when it works, but here you had kind of low output and also it's gambling. It's just gambling. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not work. We have no cooldown, so we are careful picking, which is nice, but downtimes are useful, very useful to rotate around. So you could use this downtime to go up here. Yeah. And have a like very dominating position where when you rotate around here to the right side. Would be an option. Because right now, as you can see, then your entire team is stacked on one angle. Right? Everyone is stacked up here without cooldowns. So as soon as your team peaks, Basically, everyone swings around here and peeks the same angle. So one Zarya bubble, one Diva Matrix denies your entire team. Which is not good. That's why you kind of would like to have someone shooting from here, someone shooting from here, someone shooting from here, someone shooting from here. And now Bastion is not the best flanker, but in this specific case, it would still work. Because you have plenty of time. There's nothing happening. Nice. We switch the corner with the team. This we do very well. I like this. Good timing. Always keep an eye on which targets are available. So this target has 200 HP, this one has 5 million HP. Shoot this. Don't be lazy with target acquisition. Always choose as quickly targets that are available for your position. So because they are equally available right now, you can just choose and pick which one you want to shoot. In this case, shoot the one without mitigation. But yeah, but so far we have a lot of output. But again, our playstyle is just gambling. So just because it worked this time doesn't mean it will work next time. Because honestly, like, this way of playing is very dependent on your team. Basically, your teammates are providing more than the enemy teams. They are just better. It's just a team diff. And you are using this team diff very, very well to your advantage. And this you're doing good. But this way of playing will fall apart if your tanks cannot just push the enemy tanks away. And then it kinda will start being consistent. Nice ult. Take it. That makes it a little bit weird on the ult. But we'll not go too hard on that for now. Again, just regular shots would have been fine to kill the Andra. You didn't need the Bastion form, the turret form. We are out in the open without any cover. So again, choose your position and play your position. Because right now, the only space required is here, so you just want to prevent enemies from attacking the cloak. So basically, you just want to live. Sorry, press the wrong button. You just want to live in this area, prevent enemies from going to this area. And let's control it, this is one as well, until your payload has pushed through. You don't need to kill enemies back here, because they are not doing too much. But right now, by attacking enemies back there, you are taking a lot of resources away from your team. So this Kiriko right now cannot heal your Zarya, because she's healing you right now. And of course I noticed that my drawing is actually mispositioned. Yeah, well, but I guess you still know what I mean. So be careful with pushing this, just stay in cover and shoot, or if you don't want to be permanently shooting, you can say, okay, I want to have a different lane than my Widow and my Kiriko, so you flank around into this position, which allows you to shoot down main. From somewhere this, you can shoot down main, and you, at the same time you can prevent Enron from going to this angle, the enemy flanker, which is also useful. You can kind of close it so you can shoot them in the back. It also will work to some degree if there are not too many enemies. Would be options. But you have to react quickly and decisively for this to work.
No one can hide from my sight.
Yeah, so yeah, we are just deciding to trade on main. And yeah, we are just looting Reinhardt shield, nothing happening. We are peeking our ult. So this just does nothing. So again, instead of doing all of this, you could have just rocket jumped up here and did your Bastion form from here. Well, this would prevent you from shooting Reinhardt shield. And again, if they push you, you just go out again. Right? You're on main, so you can push this to your Bastion form and then just go back to your team. Would be fine. The only, like, the reason why Bastions or Cassidys or so on do not flank that much usually is because they are slow. Which means you have to start running very, very fast. So if you are peeking this with your Bastion form, like jump transform and just shoot, and you see literally like the entire team swings around for you. Like there's a Reinhardt shield, Moira ult in your face. You just have to run instantly. You cannot just try if you can do something. You have to decide if the action is good or bad without feeling if the action gonna be good or bad, so to speak. So you need to know, like, if is shooting in this right now, will this be a good trade for you or not before you hit your first shot? And so what do we see? Well, we have partially dominant shield, we have some squishy targets which can headshot, no Reinhardt shield. So yeah, shooting should be fine for next half second. Yeah, we kind of dodged a lot instead of shooting. So we kind of just wiggled and loud instead of just like holding left click on them. But yeah, whatever. Is this P gonna be good? Well, questionable. We have no shield left anymore. We do not know how many enemies will be here. We have no cooldowns left. But we have a lot of armor, so it's kind of like we can do a little bit, probably. But maybe be a little bit more careful, just peek a little bit more careful instead of just jumping out for no reason. Also, this type of dodging on Bastion doesn't do anything. Just this more like for your information. Why is the Blizzard so slow in swapping times? So if you look at this, like, do you see your dodging? It's bigger than the Bastion spread. The Bastion spread is bigger than your dodging pattern. Like, that doesn't do anything. You can literally just stand and shoot. You will have better aim and the enemies do the same damage. We're already good to sound, I like it. We wait to survive the ults. Poor decision. We had the right idea to attack the squishies, but then we kind of turned away. So attacking the squishy would have been right, but also staying in this cover would have been correct. Stay in this cover so you can deal more damage. Because right now, the enemies have the advantage, right? Because they are currently ulting in, they are pushing in. You heard the Reinhardt charge, you reacted good to the sound. So the enemies are currently invading this space. So in this case, you don't want to like counter-invade from forward. This will not work. You have to like sit back, be effective, don't take hits and just shoot what's easily available for now. Or shoot the Moira in this case, one of both. But live in this mega room, takes the mega aspect so you can trade better and longer. Don't just randomly walk out. Stay in your room, stay in your cover. Alternatively, do a rocket jump earlier, be here, and the moment enemies push around main, you push around back and kill them from the back. Would also work. Again, unconventional for Bastion. But since you're so hard stuck on main, it looks like you do not have much experience in rotating around at all on Bastion. So it's something that you can experiment a little bit more to figure out if you can find something useful for it. Bad time to ult. So if you're losing, it's better to just die and reset and go and to reclaim the space with your ults. Because right now you need the ult to reclaim the choke. So you do not need to win every team fight. So what do we see? Let me go back. We see investment of the enemy team, right? Bastion ult is used. Our Domina is dead. Our Zarya is dead. Diva Bomb is used. There are many indicators showing that we will not win this team fight. You do not need to try to clutch every single team fight. So when many indicators that the team is lost, just take the loss, die fast, reset with your team. That's all. You also don't need to get out, by the way, just die. Don't try to prolong your life for no reason, there's no point, just die. So right now we need to break the choke, and there are two ways to break the choke. One thing is, have an overwhelming force going through main. Overwhelming forces usually happen when you have the ult advantage. So right now we have Graph and Kitsune Rush, which would be a win condition for this. So if this is our win condition, we wait until someone ults before we do anything drastic. Or the second option is to have enough angles. So like the Black Widow has. So like we can rotate around this direction, attack from here. We can attack from high ground. And someone should attack from main, so we can at least have 3 angles. And of course in theory we could rotate all the way around and attack from here. But again, this would be unusual for Bastion. But again, still doable. Because you will get more value than the enemies. Like, you will distract 2 or 3 enemies, minimum, maybe get a kill out of it. And if you time it right while your team is pushing through, you will still win with it doing that. But you will die. That's important to note. You will not farm your stats. You will not get your ego boosting scoreboard for doing that. You will just win the game. Just saying. So we choose to be main. So we use our cooldown first, which is fine. We can shoot Reinhardt shield first, but of course, like, should be eaten more by D.Va and should be more in cover. So this should not get so much value, but because it's gold, it gets value. Yeah, unfortunately that no one ulted. Now the ult is out, now we need to push hard, but we have no life, no cooldowns. You used them before we ulted. The amount of ults you have is really absurd, I have to say. Like, I know what you mean, like, you are really dealing tons of damage to the enemy team. Like, this is really strong output, the way you're playing. But again,
Payload stalled.
like, your output is not very well timed with the team. So it's kind of like someone does a little bit here, someone does a little bit there. So kind of like, if you draw a graph, usually how it is viewed, which colors do I check? So if you have a graph over time. Okay, can I do it better? Time graph and value graph. Value. There is a specific threshold that needs to be kind of like a reach to get a kill or to like push the enemy team back. But right now, what happens is like you use your cooldowns in the choke, and then the cooldowns are gone. Then your tank pushes through. Behind you, they use the value, they push through the choke, and then their cooldowns are gone. Then your Mitsuki comes around and uses his ult, and he's gone. And then you have your ult, so then you ult. And like everyone did well at his timing, but the team was never enough because here Ryan could kite back at this point. D.Va had Matrix at this point. They had Reinhardt shield at this point. They got a kill at this point. So it was never quite enough to get the kill done. And to change that, you kind of need to time your stuff together with your teammates. In a way that makes sense. So, like, you just use your turret form just because you're peeking. So right now, you just use you're peeking this corner, so you just use your Bastion form just because you're running the corner. And yeah, it was nice. Push back the Reinhardt. But at the same time, we are still out in the open. We're still taking damage. We have no cooldowns left. And now, right now, our entire team wants to kind of hide in this corner and be efficient, but we are out in the open, right? It doesn't fit. We need to be in the cover as well with our teammates and like get our resources back. Yeah, again, we are pushing very hard without any resources. And now our team is pushing hard. But now look where you are. You are down in Narnia. You're very far away. You're shooting at a nothing burger of an angle. You have no cooldowns. And you have no life. You don't see life because my face is in the way of it. You see? No life. And that is the issue. So try to be a little bit more proactive and seeing, okay, we right now we have more like of a downtime. And then you like try to like limit your costs. Or you cannot have fully stop shooting, of course. You kind of have to like just be more in cover, limit the amount of enemies you see, and so on. And then when your teammates go hard, then you also go hard with your team, so to speak. Like typically, ideally, a tank would initiate the start of the ramp up. So usually it is good if like every time there's a ramp up in your teammate's performance, it is started by a tank, like a Sigma shield. Like Sigma putting his shield up and shooting and walking. And this is where you also then want to use your turret form and go together with your Sigma. Because these two waves combined will be twice as high. It goes like this. Right? But not always the case. But if it's possible, give your tanks the time to actually initiate the fights. And again, here as well, we used our turret Bastion form to shoot our Reinhardt shield mostly. This doesn't do too much. And just ult it after the fight is lost. And all of these things you do after the fight's already lost give you tons of scoreboard stats, but they don't really do anything for the game itself because the fight's already lost. And so by doing a lot of stuff before the fight and doing a lot of stuff after the fight, you get huge scoreboard stats that just don't translate into one team fights. Okay, so right now we should have pressed tab and see how many ults we have, and ideally we would track how many ults the enemies have. Then we would see it's like a neutral fight. Of course, if you track only your teammates' ults, you should be angling, because again, you should not assume that you are able to just break through a Reinhardt D.Va frontline. It just should not happen. Because D.Va should be right now eating your entire turret form, basically. The Reinhardt should be shielding the rest. And the enemy team should be standing behind them and just shooting, and then you should be dead. But the D.Va is just stuck on main, doing nothing, and sniping and so on, so it's kind of like... Again, you're using very well that the enemies are not playing good, but this will... Like... The reason why this works so good is because the enemy tanks and the enemy team play is just not there. So you kind of can abuse this very, very well. But if you like then climb a little bit, you find stronger enemies, and then you will just fall flat on your face again and just de-rank back down. Stuff like this, right? Like D.Va ult, but just use outside of a team fight, so it's pointless. Here as well, ideally you would use your rocket jump to get to an angle, so you can go up here and roll out here, or you can go up here and shoot from here to avoid the Reinhardt shield and shoot actual targets that actually matter. Because you're picking the targets anyway, they're shooting you anyway. You're taking the damage anyway. Yeah, I mean, the enemies just trickle in, so we just shoot whatever's trickling in. But there is no decisions to be made, so it's kind of a little bit boring. We win by Kitsune, yes. So. What do we see? When was the team fight lost? Let's rocket jump. I like this one. So right now, 5 and 5. Mitsuki died. Shattered. Yeah, that's fine. This is fine. Died to the shatter. It was cleaned up. Just a small note. If you can, go to this high ground and shoot from here. It's a very good position in general, especially against shattering Reinhardts. This is kind of lazy to just ult the Reinhardt. Like, maybe you had a plan to actually that Zarya grabs beneath the Reinhardt shield when the Rein holds the shield up for the battle ult. That then it was fine. If that was the plan, if this was coordinated in voice chat and so on, then it was fine. If it's random, then it's not good. Like, random gold teammates will not ult grab that. Fight is lost, we need to get out. But the entire game is lost, so it's fine. No, this is fine. Nothing we could have done there anymore. This was done and dusted. And now, our approach of just running forward and just relying on that we are trading better than everyone else falls flat on its face. This is exactly why you want to have positions and not just rely on walking forward. So, if you look at this, it's a very chaotic positioning from everyone. But like, what is our position? We are out in the open, without cover. And we just get overrun by the Zim turret. And this is why like having strong positions at the start is kind of useful, because then you can just react better to this type of things. If you just randomly like walk around and shoot, like you are like you will always be caught more off guard by these things. You do not need to be the first to dealing damage here and poke the life out of the enemy team. It's not a requirement. It's you have to first check if there's actually something that where your team is better than the enemy team. And for the enemy team is skipping the entire poke while you went for a poke position is then actually what lost you the game. But for us in general, the entire team is out of position, so it's just a classic gold players getting overrun by unforeseen things like speed boosts and Zim teleporters. The only thing you can do is position a little bit more defensive, so actually help your teammates defending and not be a target yourself. Like, for example, being positioned on the high ground. Could have helped. Okay. We are currently shooting as a metal shield. You know that you will do 0 damage to enemy teams, right? Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, we are overpeaking this a little bit. Like, we are very far out of cover. Like, you can just be in this room and just shoot from here. It's usually a very good lane. Or just be more careful around this cover. And of course, you always have the option to go fully around and shoot from here. But again, not usual for Bastion. So be careful with those. You have to retreat very quickly if they push you. Again, you are thinking very much about pushing the enemy team. But again, ideally it would be the tanks that push the enemy team, and ideally you are basically just in your room, not taking damage, and actually wait for your tanks to actually push in this thing. If they don't want to push, it's fine, then they don't push. There's no point in like using resources here if you are the only one getting shot at. That's a cool bounce, I like this one a lot. Yep. Shooting doors, just in case someone might peek, doesn't help your Cassidy too much. Instead, just shoot the enemy team. Shoot what you can, like Wu Yang and so on, because you might have the chance to outrate this one. But again, you might have played this best from your team, so it's fine. Being on main and being close range will always hit you with those. So the only way to survive this and do this better is by actually being like on high ground and letting the enemies come more towards you before you shoot. Because you see your tanks are just standing there, so you also just go back. Or to angle harder. These are only two options. More range or more angling. And of course you can have great angles and great range at the same time, if the map allows it. Yeah. Again, we are just choosing the first corner with our teammates. So you always just walk down the path of your tanks. You really need to like often just a tiny bit, you know, just like be here. Shoot from here instead of here. Like this gives you so much more spread from your team, and the decision actually peaks this whenever you want. And then actually deepen down onto the high ground and so on. And like you see that all of these passes, they are very safe. Like this is safe. You are still getting mitigation from your tanks. You get healed from your teammates. Like this is very safe. Like okay, your supports can't heal you here easily, but you have to move a little bit. Like this is very safe. Like you know you can shoot them from the side and so on. But your supports can heal you. Like if Doom jumps, you can deal with Doomfist as long as you have the cooldowns. But by so we have drawn the graph about teamfights earlier, but the same is kind of true about like all you have. So like if you have like your graph again, but time and value, it's the same. Like you have you swing you have your cooldown, you get value. Then maybe you're on angle, you get value. Then maybe use your ult, you get value. But why not, you know, use your Bastion form while being on an angle, while having the ult for retreat or pushing options? No, then your value would be here. And then the rest of the value you don't need because the enemy team is dead. You know? It's kind of like, you don't want to play the averages so much. You kind of want to maximize one specific point in time and really get everything done. You don't want to be good on average. But average gives you better scoreboard numbers. That is true. Again, take a position like you could be here. For example, just shoot Sigma Shield with your brute form. Would be fine. You could be here. Denying the Bastion return. You could be back here. You could be up here. I think you can reach this with your... Actually, I'm not sure if you can reach this. Probably would need a double... I'm not an expert on Bastion rocket jumps. You have to know what you can reach. I know you can reach from payload, but without payload I actually don't know. Yeah, we are very close. Let's take more space, more range. We use our cooldown before anything happened. So the enemies have not used cooldowns. They have not pushed in, so they can just do nothing. And just wait out your Bastion form. And now they go in when it's out. Again, you just use your cooldown just for the sake of using it. Wait until your tanks engage or the enemy tanks engage before you use your stuff. So what lost us this fight was using our cooldowns right before the fight. And we had no position, we were just stuck on main, had no cooldowns, and then of course, like, if you have no position, no cooldowns, you have no value. Kinda... Again, feels a little bit lazy to just ult the Sigma there. You know if there was really no better target available. So you can get up there, okay. Nice try. That's good. Again, as an option, shoot from here. Shoot from here. If you're cheeky, shoot from here. Because again, if you shoot from here, you will get bait a lot of attention, and you have to get out very fast. So it has to be timed well. So for example, if your monkey jumps onto the backline, and you peek this at the same time, then it's exceptionally great. Like if you just wait until this hides door until the monkey jumps in, then you peek this, then you insta win the teamfight 2 versus 6 basically. But then you have the Bastion bubble, the Winston bubble. They don't know if they should shoot Winston or you. It's really great. Just an example. While here it's more like more average. Like if Winston jumps in now, you literally cannot even shoot, more or less. Like you do not do much more. Right. But of course the golds and Winstons are not jumping in, so it's also a little bit of whatever. We like this position. Yes, very good. Now this was a lot better. Look at this compared to the first fight on third point. Now this time you actually waited until enemies actually are in a hallway where they cannot escape. Right? you actually just poked until the enemies are actually in a position where they cannot have no escape, no nothing. So actually they have to trade now. Like if you think you waited just a tiny bit too long, just a half a second earlier would have been a little bit better. But still, we're just peeking out a little bit far, like still stay in cover. Like you don't need to peek the entire enemy team. Like at least take off the Doomfist or shoot the Doomfist from here and cut off the Bastion would have been better. Like if you can choose, always shoot what's where you are outside of the effective range. So you are outside of Doomfist range, shoot Doomfist, right? That'll be a little bit more in cover. But no, the output is so good that it still works. It's well done. I like this a lot. Nice. Cover, yes. Now reset. Now in this case I will actually go back for a health pack. Okay, we get healing, we can say, let's go. Well done. But at the same time, like that healing could have gone on towards your tanks. Might have been more useful there. Yeah, I think that is it. So I think in general you have to work on 3 things. The first, most easy, most obvious one is cover. Right? Limit line of sight. Limit how many enemies can see you. Minimize your hitbox. Make it as hard spots for the enemies to see you while still being in line of sight of your own supports. Find these positions. Don't just like run the same corner as your tanks just because they are walking there. Find your own positions. And at the same time is range. On Bastion, you're outranging at least half the enemy team, but you're still kind of always plays the same range as your Zarya and was Sigma before, I think, right? But Bastion has a lot more follow-off range than those two. So if you are at the same range as those two, like it's too close. Like you cannot have the like freedom of all ranges every time possible. But just be mindful that if you can choose be further away, do it. Don't play the range of the enemy team. Play in your range. I actually do not know Bastion's follow-off range, I have to say. Can I totally open the wiki and click it? No. So just be mindful of these 2 things that are fundamental for every single character. And I want to start with those because those are very, very useful on Emre as well. Emre with the scope also has a lot of range, and he also has his cover. And the third thing I want to use is burst value with cooldowns. Burst value with cooldowns. And this goes both for your teammates. So when your monkey uses bubble, that's when you want to have highest. That's when you want to use your grenade and your turret form and everything. When your Sigma uses shield to actually walk forward, that's when you want to use all your things. That's when you want to be effective. And then you're just efficiently poking with your normal gun, just like click some heads from range, don't take too much damage, and so on. Try to maximize this burst value. And the number 4 is a little bit different, and this is somewhat optional, but experiment with angles. Experiment about angles. So, as against the Zim turret, we saw you went there, you died to a Zim turret. So, no, if I go there, I can die to this. And that is a useful experience. And if you experiment like a little bit more, you will figure out, oh, if I go here to this timing, I can do like have higher burst of value here and so on. Because right now you're always stuck behind your tanks. You're not choosing anything, and if you are not choosing, someone else is choosing for you, and then it's not consistent. Then it relies on your team being better than the enemy team, which is not reliable. Yeah. So this would be my tips for you. I hope this is helpful. And again, if you have any questions, if you want a demonstration, if anything, catch me on Twitch. Or write a question into the Reddit. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. See you next time. Bye bye.